The sixth floor is actually the Dallas County Historical Foundation doing business as the sixth floor museum at Dealey Plaza. And we were established in the 80s under the helm of Linda Lynn Adams.
In 1975, I was appointed the chairman of the Dallas County Historical Commission. Well, I had no idea what it would lead to before. If I happened to be in this area, I wouldn't even look toward this building.
I think it was a very difficult time for the city to be associated with an international event of such major international importance. It took a while for Dallas to come to grips with that issue.
And it became evident to me, well, this is part of our history and it's always going to be here.
And even though very tragic, but the tragic part of it, we can bring out Kennedy's contribution also in it. And to make sure people don't have any biased idea or wrong idea about Dallas or Texas, but rather the right idea. We felt that maybe the best way of doing it is to protect the building and the area through historic preservation.
Martin Giroux, this famous Hollywood producer, and me came up to the sixth floor. That started our series of talks.
When the sixth floor exhibit, known as John F. Kennedy in the Memory of a Nation, was being conceived, it was not really understood how the exhibit would be received, not only by the local community, but also by the world. And the exhibit was really designed for a national audience.
This building was open to the public for the first time, really, almost since the assassination. The Commissioner's Court was overwhelmed with people trying to get up to the sixth floor. Various exhibit designers went up on the floor with us, and you could see the wheels turning, but here you had almost a 100-year-old building going up into a very emotional area, and it just seemed only the right thing to do. When it was completed and opened in 1989, it was really an amazing day and a great day. And we realized, the numbers of people who would come to see this.
And eventually we evolved into a museum, a collecting institution with over 45,000 objects and still growing. And at the core of that is our oral history project. We've got so many fabulous people in the Dallas community who have wonderful stories to share about their experiences, either as people who are along the motorcade, eyewitnesses in Dealey Plaza, people who are involved at Parkland Hospital, law enforcement, the media, and we're still collecting new stories that have never been shared before. We get lots of people from all over the world. About 10 to 15% of our visitors are from abroad.
Dealey Plaza today is a major tourist attraction for the city, one of the most important tourist sites in Dallas. I think the visitation here is estimated at about 1.6 million people a year. The buildings that surround it that kind of demarcate the history of Dallas from over a number of decades and generations. It's a beautiful site that has incredible vistas towards important civic architecture and buildings that surround it.
It's important that the sixth floor museum is housed in the former Texas School Book Depository building because it is the original building in a National Historic Landmark District, and nothing can take away from the power of stepping back into history, into the real space. Coming to the sixth floor museum is a unique experience for people because we allow people to go on their personal journey and exploration trying to find out what happened, why it happened, and how it affected Dallas, the nation, and the world. It's a personal journey, and everybody takes away something special and different from their experience here. Dealey Plaza and the Texas School Book Depository are virtually intact from 1963, and I think people get a tremendous experience that's visceral, that can't be really shared elsewhere.
It is also of vital importance that this site be interpreted and that event be commemorated in an appropriate manner, much like a Civil War battlefield.
We all have memory of that particular date. How can we forget it? We cannot possibly forget it.
Dallas is a city that's growing, and there's so much change, and this is a little nugget of history right here. We are reaching the 25th anniversary in February of 2014, and that's quite an achievement for an institution that wasn't really expected to have a long life. And our responsibility now is to prepare the institution for the next 25 years.
Our job is to keep it maintained at the highest level and to preserve it for future generations.
We want to continue expanding our educational programming and other exhibits and partnering with other Dallas organizations. The Sixth Floor Museum, as it's evolved into a collecting institution, is taking its collection stewardship responsibilities seriously. In fact, when the Sixth Floor exhibit opened in 1989, a lot of the films and photographs that are depicted in the exhibit did not belong to us, but now we can say that we have the rights to them. We're very fortunate, through the generosity of many caring individuals, that they see the Sixth Floor Museum as the repository and stewards for future projects of those collections. In order to preserve history and its historic buildings and spaces, you have to work with changing generations to make that relevant, and it's our duty to preserve these incredible spots for the world.
The Texas School Book Depository building, the scene of one of this nation's most tragic moments, survives today as one of the city's most important preservation achievements. The building once stood as a grim and brooding reminder of an event that many Dallasites viewed as having impeded the city's growth and forever damaged its standing among other great cities in this country. While a vocal constituency advocated for its destruction, other passionate members of the community offered a bold vision for the future called Goals for Dallas. Charged by this visionary mandate, a talented city staff led by Wei Ming Liu and Robin and Janet McCaffrey launched a strategy to envelop designation of the School Book Depository within the designation of a larger historic district known as the West End. Preservation Dallas is pleased to recognize as its honoree the Sixth Floor Museum at Dealey Plaza for extraordinary efforts over the years by skillful leaders to preserve one of the most recognized historic places in Dallas and around the world. History, after all, is the memory of a nation.